How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, good.
Okay, you ever had one of those things in the news that you get kind of tired of hearing about it, but something comes up a little bit later on that kind of brings it back up and makes you look at it in a different light?
Yeah.
Well, we all know the Pope retired February 28th. Seems that he was partially successful in negotiating a severance package. He was able to keep the Pope hat, the Pope Mobile, the pimpified red Pope shoes, and his subscription to Altar Boys Gone Wild.
Oh.
But, however, on the other hand, the access to the Vatican's supply of male prostitutes and criminal immunity were definitely no-goes in the negotiation. Speaking of the shoes, anybody ever see pictures of the shoes? They're red, shiny, leather Prada.
Oh.
Make your own joke there. Shoes. I was looking at them and thinking, you know, one of two things. Either one, the first time he ever went to the Vatican, he was met by Glenda the Good Cardinal, going, I know a good Pope. What a bad Pope. Or ultimately, I halfway expect to see something come up in the news. Former Pope killed by falling house. Shoes are missing. But the Pope said that the reason he decided to retire was at 85, he was tired. He was too weak to fulfill his mission. And this is where it came up. This is what made this amusing for me. The next thing that came up in my news feed was about Hugh Hefner. Now, Hugh Hefner is 86, and just a couple months ago married a 26-year-old Playboy, another 26-year-old Playboy playmate. And I was thinking, you think he's sitting there looking, reading about Pope and going, you're a pussy. Well, come on, think about this for a second. The Pope, head of the Roman Catholic Church, Hugh, the Playboy Empire. He's sitting there, maybe that there really was something about the Pope that God was like going, you suck. Fuck you. Go away. Or maybe God is just like most of us and just really enjoy the perky boobs. Pope, Hugh. Pope, Hugh. Boobs! We have a winner, folks. We have a winner. Thank you very much. But come on, think about this. The man that supposedly has a direct line to God can't keep up with the man who's probably got the straight line to hell. You've got the poster boy for morality, better living through morality in the Pope. And you've got Hugh, the poster boy for better living through erectile dysfunction medications, hedonism, and a fairly endless supply of Playboy playmates and bunnies. And trying the line between the two, and somewhere between the Hugh and the Pope, more towards the Pope, had a little personal relationship throughout spell. It was a little less than 2 years, if measured in a dog's age. You know, and the entire time I'm like, I want to be in a relationship again. I miss being in a relationship. And then I come back to North Carolina and I meet a wonderful woman. And I'm happy, but the dark side of my brain's going, you know, you're a middle-aged, out-of-shape white guy who hasn't had sex in over a decade. What could possibly go wrong in a new relationship? So I expressed my concern, and she was very polite. She said, you know New York, it's just like riding a bike. Now, I'm the youngest of my family. There's a significant age gap. So I went from tricycle to 26-inch road bike. The bike was taller than I was. So for me, my memories of riding a bike are getting on the bike, trying not to get testicular torsion, pumping real hard, going down the road, every once in a while emitting very high-pitched screams, trying not to fall off and hurt myself. And then the end of my ride ended up with me laying in the ground, covered in bruises, cuts, contusions, and wondering to myself, am I still alive? Well, things have progressed, and me and my girlfriend, we finally did have sex, and I discovered one thing. She was right. It was exactly like riding a bike for me. Thank you. For some reason, I just had a brain fart in the middle of it. I actually had something, well, when I was doing the Wizard of Oz jokes, I actually had another one that I kind of liked, but I went completely blank on it, so I threw in the one about the house falling on the Pope.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah. You didn't have it written down?
No, I just had kind of notes.
Yeah. Do you bullet point?
Huh?
Do you do bullet points? Is that how you do it? Is your bullet point the punchline, or do you title your jokes?
It really depends on how I approach it, because actually it depends on how I come up with the joke. If I come up with the setup first, then I do it by the setup, because that's what I'll remember. And usually if I do it by the punchline, if I come up with the punchline first, then I do it by the punchline. But I'm coming to realize that if I do it by the punchline, it's less reliable. My memory of it is less reliable. And then when I had that pause, I just had a complete, I had like another 30 seconds of the Pope Hugh thing that just went out of my head. And then I went into the second one. I felt good at the beginning and I felt good at the end. There were a couple of things that y'all pointed out about me kind of stammering over or kind of rushing through that I did, like I actually did change the suggestion. I made it Altar Boys Gone Wild instead of saying magazine, so that way I didn't get monthly and magazine, did the M thing mixed up. And I did say erectile dysfunction meds instead of ED meds, which both you and Steve said that I kind of rushed through and mumbled over. So I mean, there were points that I really were obvious to me last week that I was fine on this week, but there were jokes that I was perfectly fine on last week that I stumbled over this week.
Why do you think that was?
Concentrating too much on getting the ones from last week right. And because that's one of the things that when I'm going through and rehearsing, those are things that I write out, so that way I know I try to hit them. And then with that sticks in my mind. And then there's certain things that, like a couple of the jokes I had last week that were just off the cuff things that I threw in, that this time it was like, I didn't make that connection.
Okay. You mean connection as in they didn't hit?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that was because last week it was in the moment, you maybe have more emotion with it?
Not really, because that's kind of the way my mind works. I mean, I'm very ADD with that. I have just things that pop into my head. And sometimes when they do like that and I actually get them out, I'm usually very good at remembering them.
Yeah.
But with this, again, instead of trying to do last week was more of a flow for me, because there wasn't anything that, I was expecting to be, get feedback on and everything. So I was just more for the flow of the thing, where today I was trying to hit points instead of just doing the flow of the whole thing. When I get a chance to do the whole thing together, then it'll get better. It was just, and then trying to get it down, because when I did my rehearsal, I was at like 3:01 when I was my last couple of rehearsals this afternoon. And so I was kind of more trying to keep it on that than actually worrying about the flow of the jokes itself.
Okay. I thought the beginning you were fast for maybe 15 seconds, and then I felt you got into it and you had great rhythm, great timing after that. I did see where you had the hiccup, but other than that, I thought it went real smooth. It went real good. I can tell you rehearsed a lot, and that's good. I like the Wizard of Oz stuff too. Does anybody have any feedback on that?
Thank you for that suggestion last week, Clayton. Because I got to thinking about it, and it's like as soon as I did the Glinda, I was like going, okay. I was like, that worked much. You're right, and it just, to me, it just worked better than the Michael Jackson jokes did too. So.
Yeah.